paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, that's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Can I say yes?
Can you see
Can I say
DN?
yes? What?
These nuts. Can you see them?
Oh, sir, please don't do things like that. I'm disappointed for both of us. Oh nah, Corbin, you can't D's nuts a D's nutter, motherfucker. Oh, guess who got today? Lily was stuck behind a piece of furniture. I came out of the bathroom and she tried to scare me, but she got stuck behind a piece of furniture trying to pop out and scare me. And she said, "I'm stuck." I said, "Hi, Stuck. I'm Dad." And no one laughed. And I said, "What? Nothing? Nothing?" And she goes, "Hi, nothing. I'm Lily." And I went, "Ah!" How the fuck is she funny? She's 4. She's so funny. I was like, Brittany's like, "She got you." She just very calmly, she's like, "Well, that happened. She got you. You were got by a 4-year-old. Fuck. God damn it. I was so mad. She baited me. Oh.
Yeah, dude, you got pretty destroyed.
I know. Right?
I haven't watched that yet.
I fell right for the fucking rook sacrifice. And she's like, actually, it's made in 3, idiot.
But is that a commentary on you, Jason, that your kid is smart, or is this the other way? Are you?
I'm
just
not sure she
not smarter than a
100%
4-year-old?
understood what she was doing. She just like mechanically.
Well, she got you. Welcome in, everybody. It's hard to top a story like that, so I'm not going to try. This is Brainstorm Brewery. We just got done streaming. We did some after hours before this. Jason and I are just maybe a little inebriated, so you're going to be in for a great show tonight is what we're saying. But before we get into... there's a story about Cheetos and blood somewhere in the show, but it'll make sense in context, I promise. We've got everything else you want to hear.
It won't.
But let's start things off before we get into that story with some very important news updates from Jason.
As you know, I work for a website called EDHREC. And EDHREC is a website that scrapes AetherHub, Archidec, Commander Spellbook, Dextax, Moxfield, MTG Goldfish, and Scryfall for all the EDH deck lists that are made online. And all we do is just sort of say, hey, here's all the data. We sort of parsed it a little bit. Like, well, over the last week, 99 people made Arami of the Dead Tide lists. Here are the average stats from all of them. Of the 99 people that made that deck list in the last week, 98 of them ran Soul Ring. Sort of that sort of deal, right? What happened with the Walking Dead commanders was the Secret Lair stuff is reprints most of the time, right? So the Secret Lair stuff goes in and it's whatever it is, right? It's Bitter Blossom was reprinted and we have Bitter Blossoms in decks. The Walking Dead stuff was the first time they've ever had cards that didn't exist before. They're called Walking Dead Drop Series or something. It's a different thing. So everyone was like, hey, EDHREC, we really commend you for not doing the Walking Dead stuff. And we're like, no, we're not doing it. We don't care. Like, yeah, we understand that people think these cards aren't great, but like we weren't deliberately not displaying the Walking Dead stuff. We just set a minimum threshold for the number of decks and like it didn't meet that. Well, it turns out what had happened was all that stuff got thrown in a folder for like, hey, these cards exist, these decks exist, we scraped all these lists, but there are no corresponding cards in the database to match them with, so we kind of think these aren't decks. But in reality, what happened was these are new cards and we just never created new files. Look, I'm not a programming guy. What I can tell you is we didn't deliberately say, oh, we're going to go scrape the Walking Dead stuff now. We didn't say, hey, we're not going to scrape it. EDH Rec thinks data should be free. So it was just sort of like the decks were out there. Over the past 6-7 weeks since the Walking Dead stuff was released, however long that was, 2020 is a hellscape. It feels like 2020 has been a decade. So I don't know when that Walking Dead shit came out, but everyone was mad for 3 days and forgot about it. However long ago that was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever time period between when that was released and everyone was mad to today when everyone is mad about something else.
However many
95
epochs of manufactured outrage ago.
Yeah. So however long that time period was, 95 people registered Negan the Cold-Blooded decks. Whatever. Cool. More power to you. But since we resolved the scraping issue last night, all 95 were reported this week, and Negan is the number 2 deck of the week. I would like to tell everybody Negan is not the number 2 deck of the week. It doesn't even register in the top 10 of the month. But every Negan deck that has ever been registered in the history of that card being spoiled to today was registered in one night, and that makes it the number 2 deck in the past week. I want to let you know that's not accurate. No one gives a care about any of this Walking Dead stuff. Like,
I think it's interesting.
EDH Rec is not like we hate it or we like it. We don't give a shit about
it is
any
what
of it.
I think it's hilarious what people read into, and not to tie it, to current events and to, alienate half our listeners, but people see patterns and things where they just don't exist. And people very often ascribe intent to where it doesn't exist, whether that's
I tell another story?
Whether people don't care or whether it's just data that didn't get input for any particular reason.
So in summary, Negan's not the number 2 deck of the last week. It's the number 2 deck of the last 7 weeks, or it's whatever. Divide 95 by 7, and
it's
that's
not very popular. It's a glitch in the data.
Yeah, but none of them are, because Negan, when we scraped every single Walking Dead list, Negan cracked the top 20 of the last week, but none of the rest of them did, even under those adverse circumstances.
Well,
so, the Walking Dead shit's just not that popular, and we're not advocating it either way. EDH Rec's stance is just whatever. Well, the data's out there. We'll make it available just because it's out there, but we don't care.
Well, it also goes back to what we've always said on this podcast before, every time a set comes out, and that's that people don't build decks until they have cards. And The Walking Dead was available for pre-order for a specific amount of time, and then they said, yeah, you'll get it in 6 months. I bought several, and then I listed them for pre-order on TCG Player. I've sold several copies, but those people don't have those copies yet. And
because you don't have them.
And the people that didn't pre-order it, but still were going to build a deck, still don't have those copies yet. People have pre-ordered them, but the cards are not physically sitting in front of them, and people do not have Negan decks or Glenn decks sleeved, and therefore they're not in Architect. They're not in any of those websites.
Yep, people, for whatever reason, some people really just can't handle that explanation that people just don't build this stuff until they physically have it. But that's something that I've seen. How many years have I been monitoring EDH Rec? 6 years, 7 years? It's a thing. Okay. Yeah. So be mad at it if you need to be mad at it, but just understand that.
That's just another example of people wanting to ascribe patterns that don't exist. They say, I build this way. My method of building commander decks is that I find the commander, build my perfect idealized 99, pre-order all the cards I need for it, and have the list uploaded, and then I play test 7 hands, make the tweaks, and then I buy the cards. And it's most people don't do that. Most people flip through their binder, say, this is neat, pull it out, and then start grabbing out of boxes.
And it doesn't matter if that makes sense to you, because the data bears it out. Look, my hit rate on my articles went way up when I stopped saying, I think people will do this, and started saying, well, clearly based on the data, people are doing this. I never would have predicted that Obeka would have been the number 1 deck from Commander Legends for a week and a half. I never would have predicted that Yearlock would have been number 2. I never, looking at everything from the set, I wouldn't have predicted that. But if I'd have been like, you know what? I think Kadama the East Tree is the number 1 commander in this set, I would have made some bad picks. So, like, I wait for data. You should wait for data too. And if that bothers you, just understand that, like, you have a couple extra weeks to make all your buys and just chill.
All right. Well, speaking of things Jason can't predict, it's time for Breaking Bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Ooh, couldn't have seen it coming.
I'll go first. I'm going to go with a Morning Tide.
That's a forbidden set.
Is it?
Yes.
I mean, we banned that set like 4 years ago at this point.
Is it?
Lorwyn, Morningtide, Shadowmoor, Eventide.
The whole
They
block.
are forbidden.
It was
sets
Lauren
from
block,
Breaking
and then it
Bulk.
was also just the entirety of Future Sight block.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Go with your...
No.
You know what?
No.
No. Go with your Donald Trump didn't actually win, but like you think it's fine pick for a pick.
No, I got a better one for you. I'm going to change it up.
What was the one you were going to say? Because, like, although it's forbidden for the purposes of the guessing game, like, maybe some of our listeners could benefit
It
from
was
knowing that
an
card should not be in their bulk.
You're right, Jason. We'll get some bonus Breaking Bulk in here this week. It's a blue uncommon from Morningtide.
Distant, is it Distant Memories or Distant Melodies?
Distant Memories is a common.
Oh, that's right. It's Pauper legal. Blue.
Is it
uncommon.
the Sage's Summoning, or the is it the Merfolk creature, or the...
I know what you're talking about. The one that draws cards.
Yeah.
It's like remove a counter from a creature you control, draw a card.
It's Sage of Fables.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sage of Fables. There we
Yeah.
go. That
Yeah,
is
it
Sage's
does a thing with
Summoning?
wizards, I believe.
Sage of Fables.
I used to play that in Marchesa the Black Rose because, like, dethrone.
Yeah, because it gets counters back on it very easily.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? That was a reasonable
Tell
one.
us your real pick.
All right, I'll get you another one. A blue uncommon from Zendikar Rising.
Ruin Crab.
All right. I just want to check and see if y'all were ready.
That's the one, right?
It's like
Yeah.
the only card, yeah.
yeah,
It's
I
like
mean,
no
more or less.
blue
After
uncommon
that,
DFC.
it's black card. After that, there's some black cards that are like maybe Breaking Bulk.
No.
Balagan
Here's the
Recovery
deal.
is the most.
Balagan Recovery. I think
Yeah.
Balagan Recovery. And what's the black one?
It's the Black Disenchant, like the Black Killa.
No. The black DFC.
DJ's talking about Feed the Swarm. Jason, are you talking
You're
about
talking about Feed the Swarm. I'm talking about the
I know.
DFC.
Are you talking about the mythic, the rare, the uncommon? Which?
The uncommon.
Okay, you are talking about the one that brings it back.
Yes.
Malakir Rebirth.
Malakir Rebirth and Balagan Recovery are both.
Yeah, let me read
Don't
Malakir
bulk
Rebirth to
those
people
out.
who don't know. because-
Don't bulk out any DFC.
Yeah, well, close
If you're
to that anyways.
just flip your cards around, pull out anything that doesn't have a magic back, and throw it in a box.
Malakir
You'll be
Rebirth.
glad. No, you're overpicking a little, maybe, but like it's so quick to just flip
Sure.
everything, yank it, and just throw it
I
in
mean,
a
I do
box.
think you're overpicking by a fair amount there, but you know what? It's a reasonable guideline. Malakir Rebirth,
But
by
like
the way,
honestly, like I think Balagan Recovery may be the best DFC in the set, and it's an uncommon.
it is. Malakir Rebirth is also very good. This is the
Yeah.
1 mana instant. Choose target creature, you lose 2 life. When it dies, bring it back under its owner's control.
Yeah,
and
that's a very
and
good
it's
card.
a tapped black land on the other side. Very, very powerful. All right, Jason, why don't you go ahead?
I have a card that is got 2 printings. It is colorless, and the original printing is Dissension. 2 printings, Dissension Artifact. Because I hate when you guys do, like, it has no color. It's like, is that an artifact or is it like a token or some shit? This is an artifact. I'm not going to...
Does Mage Right Stone have a reprint?
It does. Major Right Stone was in the mystery booster / the list.
Okay, so that's my guess.
Major Right Stone is the card.
Okay. I'm actually more surprised I got the name right. I was like, it's Mage
Yeah,
Right
no
something.
kidding. Can't remember that one.
Mage Right Stone, Dissension didn't have like a ton of good stuff. Because that was the Azorius Simic Rakdos set. Yeah. So like there wasn't a ton, like Trigon Predator was in there, but that has like 3 printings and like whatever. Azorius didn't give us much. That set Rakdos didn't give us much. So Mage Right Stone, any creature that taps, this is relevant. I'm sure if you're getting pick bulk, you're not gonna have a $4 card in there, but like maybe you do. The mystery booster only gave us foil, so like the mystery booster foil is $3 and the original set non-foil is $4. So that's really interesting.
That is interesting.
The fact that like it hasn't really impacted, just because EDH players don't love foils per se, I guess. I don't really know what's going on here. All I know is that like Card Kingdom is selling the non-foils for like $4, and I trust Card Kingdom because they sell a lot of EDH cards, just a lot, more than you'd expect. So,
all right,
that's whatever. Like, it's interesting when you. I'm sorry, this is a small aside, but it's interesting when you see that the set non-foil is worth more than like a mystery booster or the list foil, and I think foils are pretty dead, and I think we might talk about that later in the episode.
Yeah, it is something. It is a topic that is worth touching on. But let's finish off Breaking Bulk. DJ, why don't you go ahead?
I was gonna segue off of Corbin's because black Zendikar card, but I have a black World Wake rare that has been reprinted just a ton, like probably double
Black
digits.
Sun. Well, World Wake, not Black Sun Zenith. World Wake Black.
Like 8+ reprints.
Whoa,
off the top of
hold
my
on.
head. But
It's not Death Shadow, is it? Because that's been printed a lot.
Nope.
Oh, I know what it is. Is it Butcher?
Yep.
Yeah, Butcher
of
Malakir.
Malakir.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, people love a 7-mana Grave Pact.
Well, it flies and it punches people in the face, and it's a vampire. So, like,
Yeah, the vampire part goes a long way, I think.
it will
And
just.
it's a black creature, so you can just reanimate it. I'll take 7 damage to put a goddamn Grave Pact into play for sure.
I mean, it's just it'll always be $1. I mean, it's just one of those cards that it's going to get reprinted every year, and it's always going to. I'm going to list.
You can't print it enough.
Yeah, like
Because it was in that dual deck, right? The
it was in Sorin versus Tybalt.
Tybalt?
It was
Yeah.
it was in a commander. It was in one of the original commander decks. It was in C14. It was in C15, I think, and then it was in Commander Anthology 2 or Commander, like Commander Anthology 2 or whatever.
It's got some printings.
Yeah,
some
it's just
printings.
printed a billion times, and I still find it in bulk rares, and I will still pay 10 cents and then throw it on TCG for like $1.39 or something like that.
And you'll sell it.
Well, to bring it back around, today I want to talk about a word I recently learned what it meant. The word foglio, if you didn't know, means sheet in English, and foglio is the Italian. So it's also the name of a pair of famous magic artists. And if you, like me, recently went back and learned what some of their art was and which cards they did, it's some pretty cool ones. We're talking Kismet, we're talking Hydroblast, we're talking some really iconic ones like Mishra's Factory and Mishra's Workshop, Shahrazad, Swords to Plowshares.
We're talking Blessed Wine from Ice Age. We're talking Cooperation. We're talking Apathy
These
from
are
Weatherlight. Iconic cards like Blessed Wine from Ice Age. That's them.
These are all great cards. And if you are interested in bringing any of this awesome art we're talking about to your home, whether that be a print, a playmat, something else, you can go to originalmagicart.store. Use that Brainstorm Brewery affiliate link, checkout code, and go check out the Foglio portfolio. There are very limited copies available of this over there, and our friends at originalmagicart.store have really put together a special collection here. So if you're interested in bringing any of that off your internet screen where you're looking at it right now and into your house, go check it out, originalmagicart.store, and use the Brainstorm Brewery affiliate code.
That's just a free way to support this podcast. If you're not interested in going to patreon.com/BSB and becoming a patron and pledging to give us money directly, something you can do is just buy a nice sexy Phil or Cajafoglio playmat that you were going to buy anyway. Maybe the Ice Age Swords of Plowshare strikes your fancy. Maybe it was something else on the OMA website. If you were going to buy that anyway, just go ahead and use our coupon code, because that is an affiliate link that will directly support this podcast. And that'll be a thing that you can do to feel good about yourself. So like, you know what? BSB's made me a lot of money. I'm going to give a little back. And all I really had to do was do something I was going to do anyway.
That's right.
And if you weren't going to like or subscribe the podcast anyway, you should do that on YouTube, because studies show that asking people directly to like or subscribe the video helps out with the YouTube algorithm. So I am not asking you, I'm telling you, which is a level above there's asking nicely, and then there's me telling you to click a single button on your mouse.
It's so easy to do it.
This is some next level fishing here. This is good. I like this.
My daughter told my mother to like and subscribe, and my wife took YouTube off of her iPhone. So that's the thing that, like, it's so easy, even a 4-year-old can do it. So, like, are you smarter than a 4-year-old? Well, maybe you're not smarter than my 4-year-old, but you could be smarter than, like, some 4-year-olds. And make your way over to the YouTube and just like and subscribe and finger blast the bell icon. So you
while
get a
you're
notification.
there. Yeah.
While you're there. So you get a notification whenever we do anything, because it's not just episodes of this podcast anymore. We are putting all kinds of content up on the YouTubes, and you can get notified when we do all of it.
That's right. Okay, so now we promised
That was a very dense ad read quagmire that I like, and we really appreciate you sticking with us all the way.
And we have a Cheeto and a blood story to follow it up with. Now, this is an interesting situation that we came across. And we want to share it because it's interesting. We're looking for content, frankly. There's not a ton of magic stuff going on. And this is from somebody who I've sort of known in the business for a long time, more or less, Sean Johnson of Brute Force Games. So here's the story.
Sean the Rock Johnson?
Here's the story. Sean said, looking for advice. We're processing buy lists for our day and noticed one was completely trashed. Upon opening it, there appeared to be dried blood inside, along with what looked like a Cheeto. The packaging reeked and made someone on staff throw up. 2 questions. What would you do for the customer? It's under $100 of store credit. 2, what the hell happened? I'm going to start with number 2. Jason, I would like your first theory on how someone gets a Cheeto and a stinking package that makes someone throw up instead of magic cards.
The Cheeto and likely the dried blood. So what happened was the package was processed alongside a different package. Both packages were opened, right? So one of the packages probably became opened because somebody improperly was sending something, probably meat or some sort of food. Maybe it was like a care package. It's like, you're in Afghanistan, you've been there for 15 years. I'm sending you your favorite Omaha steaks and some spicy Cheetos or whatever. Somebody packaged something improperly. This buy list order had the bad fortune of being processed next to it. The package became engorged with blood and just soaked through the packaging and made its way into the other package. The sorting machine rendered both of them open. This kind of stuff happens all the time. So it just had the bad luck of being processed next to something that was not properly packaged. Some of the juices soaked into it, and that's why once it was split open, the cards are gone.
I gotta say, Jason,
it's a sorting machine. Sorting machines do not play favorites. They just churn everything because they're machines. So what I'm saying is, they probably just had the bad fortune of being processed next to somebody who processed improperly. I don't think a person's like, you know what? What if I could get away with sending an open package full of Cheetos into the buy list to scam a company out of $93?
Yeah, that is you have a much more mundane, much more plausible explanation than what I had in mind.
Oh, you think it was aliens?
No.
Tell me you think it was aliens.
Mostly involved sort of like a scene where someone was trying to get a message out, like a hacker, right? Someone in their mom's basement just going to town some Cheetos, but also saving the world with their other hand. But then and obviously they're a nerd who plays Magic, but they were trying to get out a last minute message when the hit came in, and all they could find as they were, bleeding out was the address for their buy list order and the last Cheeto in their dying grip. And it was the only message they could send, which is to say, Cheetos, Magic. I'm in my mom's basement.
An assassin named Chester.
I'm in my mom's basement.
Was the one that killed
Come
him.
save me. Think about it. When you see someone send in Magic cards and Cheetos, you assume mom's basement. I'm saying it's a clue.
Okay, no. Who's the mascot from Cheetos? Chester Cheetah. Who else is named Chester? The lead singer from Linkin Park. Linkin Park is a place in Chicago. It's under the gazebo in Chicago's Linkin Park. That's where the fucking USB drive is buried.
And you know what?
I think find who killed them.
I think Sean is located near Chicago.
We solved it. We did it.
We did it.
And in the end, it doesn't really matter.
Because your package won't get delivered.
That was his last resort.
What we're saying is they're picking up the pieces. It's good that someone's breaking their silence. That's all I'm saying.
Anyways, you can see the
Something
picture.
from a
You can see the
Transformers
picture
movie.
on YouTube.
Didn't
here.
they do like 4 songs for 4 Transformers movies?
This entire episode has caused quite the great divide between all of us and our listeners.
Well, you can see the picture on YouTube if you're watching the video of what they got. Now, let's go back to the first question,
That's not YouTube,
which I think we probably all have the same answer on.
YouTube's algorithm is going to catch that and think it's a murder scene.
No, it's just a Cheeto.
It wasn't a murder. It was a ransom scene. If best, somebody kidnapped Chester Cheetah, and they're like, "If you want him back," they're like, "I don't think you really send me proof of life." And then they send like a Cheeto, and the man's like, "That's what his fingers look like, probably." You bastards!
All right,
being cheesy.
Let's chat about the first part, though.
I
think we all have the same answer here. It's store credit under $100. If you are the store and this is the first time this customer has sent you a Cheeto in lieu of Magic cards, what do you do?
Just refund them.
Just give them the money. I don't care.
I give them the money for sure, right? $100. Who cares? $100 is store credit. Like
I have
$50.
I have a horror story for you.
Okay.
I was sent a buy list order one time. And it was a sizable brick of cards. It was probably like $300 or $400 worth, but it was like this size in terms of quantity, right? Like we got some Brainstorm Brewery tokens here. It was like
a couple $100
slightly more than a deck of cards.
Please, DJ, please just smoothly pitch the BSB tokens.
And the order came in, and you can see on camera here, like the corner of this deck of cards was bent.
That's a rough one.
So like, the amount of physical power required to do that is just extraordinary. So like it must have been in the package and like landed with something several hundred pounds just crushing it. And so when it arrived, just every card was just bent at like a 45-degree angle on that corner.
So what did you do?
I've had a very sturdy cardboard
DJ?
tube. It looked like it got smashed and run over. Like anything that can happen in the U.S. Postal Service or UPS, like, can happen and will happen.
Yeah.
But also the USPS are like, oh, we had 99.6 of our packages like get delivered properly this month. That's not good enough. We got to get 99.7. So like, look, sometimes you're that 0.3 and it feels bad, but at the same time, like, what are you going to do? You're not going to send another buy list order through the U.S. Postal Service? Yeah. No, you're just going to you're like, this will never happen to me again. You're the dude that's like, I will never get struck by lightning a second time.
To answer Corbin's question, I suggested that he contact the USPS because he did not ship it with insurance, and I just graded it at, I was like, I reached out to them first. I said, this obviously came like this. Obviously you did not do this to your cards. Do you want me to just send them back to you, or do you want me to process all of them as damaged? Yeah. And I recommended they take it up with the USPS, but I ended up just processing.
I mean, I think that's reasonable for what it's worth because, like they chose to send it, and you can
get like
especially when you talk to
free insurance sending priority, right?
Yes, you get $50 insurance when you send priority, correct?
Mhm.
But
And you can always add. It's not expensive to add insurance. It is a fight to get them to pay out insurance.
It's $7 to go up to 500. A priority.
yeah.
It's literally $7 to go up to 500.
So if you're somebody
if
that
you're
sends
sending a $500 buy list order, I recommend paying the $7.
Yeah,
like if
probably.
you're it all depends on your economy of scale and how frequently you send packages, and you're weighing that against the statistical odds of something
Right.
happening to your package.
I mean, I think most people in this
0.3%
would
is what I
rather
estimated
just
at.
eat the $7 because the feels bad of losing $500 is so much more than paying $7. Even if you come out percentage points ahead in the end, the other way around, nobody here is doing enough. Nobody listening to this cast is likely to be doing enough volume
But
for it
also,
to really
you
come
know
down
what
to
we
that,
do?
right? Like, so
We
I just say pay
shim.
$7.
We tend to shim our buy list orders with like bulk rares or whatever, just to make sure the stuff is packed as tight as it can possibly be. And you could easily jam $7 worth of like bulk rares just into those orders, just to make sure the boxes are completely full. So honestly, you're getting free shipping just
That's a
your
reasonable
shimming
way to look
material.
at it. Yeah.
Don't put a piece of cardboard in there. Don't put foam. Just put bulk rares in there. You can easily jam $7 worth in there.
I personally am sending enough value of cards through the mail every day and every week that, like, I have run the numbers and said I will probably lose at least one $500 package every X weeks. And then if I calculate that against the cost of insurance for every single package I'm shipping out, it is statistically advantage for me to not pay for insurance.
Right.
But I am the outlier in this situation. If you are somebody that sends one $500 package every 3 months, then that $21 you are spending over the course of a year is better for your peace of mind, and you're rolling the dice, basically, and just like...
I send a lot of stuff on Twitter, and I just do PW and everything under $50, and like
it's also
I've lost some shit.
Yeah,
I've lost $30 orders, and I'm just like, whatever, I'll just refund you.
It's also a question.
It's so infrequent.
Talking about the, to get into the math of it, which I don't know, JJ can cut all this if it's boring, but
it's not boring.
like
This
think
is what
about it.
people
If you
listen to
come
this
out
podcast
behind on average or whatever, the question is, even if you are somebody who does it and you come out behind, it's like, would you rather, a lot of people might rather pay the $50 extra over the course of 3 years than experience losing out one time, That's kind of where I fall, right? So it's all just risk tolerance.
It's spreading out your costs over X amount of time instead of... Because, I mean, if you're somebody that's relying on that $500 check, then yes, you're better off, paying the insurance. Like, it's literally insurance on the scale of, like, paying a monthly cost to avoid a...
So I think it depends on the different position you're in. If you're someone like DJ that's mailing out a bunch of orders from people who bought from you, it's like, you could probably just say, well, the postal services do a good enough job that I'm not really worried about it. But if you're someone that just like has a $500 buy list order for Channel Fireball and you want to make sure it gets there, just pay the $7. Just include $507 worth of stuff in that box versus $500. It's a wash. You're just giving up a bunch of stuff you don't care about anyway. Mm-hmm. So if you're in that position where you would like the $500 store credit, just it's a no-brainer. So it really just depends how often you're doing these transactions and like how much you can afford to lose it.
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on, and before we do pick of the week, let's not get on an email, Jason, or DJ rather. I believe we have one or two in the queue.
I do. I have a couple emails here. One of them is pretty quick from a longtime podcast fan / sponsored streamer, Joey D. I recently sorted my rather large Magic collection, about 45 one-row long boxes from various sets. I would like to pick my own bulk. Is there a website or other resource where I can pull up a set list of common and uncommons and sort by price? Sent for my jailbroken Fire Stick, Joey D. Yep, you can sort by price on mtgstocks.com.
Broken Fire Stick. It's an older meme, Joey D, but it checks out.
So, stocks is not a bad option. I also recommended MTG the Blueprint if you're going to buy listed there. What I used to do was I had 5-6 windows open, and I was like just checking 6 different buy lists for the best price. There. And I was sending out a bunch of packages. I think it's much easier to just pick one site.
Well, and there's not as much. There's not as much variation as maybe there was 5 to 10
Yeah.
years ago. Everything's homogenized a little bit more.
One thing I used to do, this was like 5 years ago, I built a physical copy of the blueprint with one of every card that was pickable. And then I set sorted and alphabetized that and used that as a tutorial guide to teach
It's like
my...
a template?
Yeah, I made a template of physical cards and used that to teach people how to pick. So I would have people over at my house, and they would be like, I don't know how to pick. And then I would have one person set sorting, and then the other person would be picking, and they'd get handed like a whole stack of Weatherlight cards or whatever, and they would grab the Weatherlight stack of the template, and then there's 10 cards there. They'd lay them out, and I'd say, pick those 10 cards.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So for those who don't know, the blueprint is you can just Google MTG blueprint. It's what we call a micro buy list. It basically exists for the cards you get 2 cents for, the cards you get 3 cents for, and it's publicly available. So while we would recommend,
it scales up to like $1 or $2. Like it's not all 3 cent card. Like it's like anything from like 2 cents to like $1.50 or whatever.
Right, but you're not going to go sell Jason Mind.
It's a little more comprehensive than a lot of sites, but also if you have decent stuff that's like better than average. Honestly, if you're not super into picking all of it, I would just throw it in a box and set it to Channel Fireball because you don't even have to set, sort, and alphabetize it. You just throw everything in a box, they'll do all that work for you, and they'll just send you.
So if you're in a position like Joey is, in the email, the MTG stocks is what I would recommend for prices.
Well, Joey's super organized. He's got everything in boxes by set.
Yeah, which makes it really easy. You can just go to MTG stocks, sort by descending price. You can even separate it out by rarity. And then if you, depending on what you want to do with it after that, the blueprint's an option. You can also, for the bigger stuff, that's when we recommend places like Channel Fireball, right? A big store that you're going to get good prices on in those staples. So that's a good question, honestly.
The next
email comes up a lot.
Very good question. And I'm actually really surprised we have never talked about this. From David Charlton, $20 patron email. Hey, Brew Crew, I don't sort cards to sell / buy list, or I don't sort cards to sell / buy list very often, but my wife is tired of my stacks of random cards taking up space in our china cabinet, so it's been in my project this week.
Oh, boy. The three of us know about that life.
The old advice of turning cards upside down to set sort is great, except for one thing. If a card came from a mystery booster, you can't see the little planeswalker symbol. So this requires far more diligence and effort than I'm used to giving. Can you offer any tips for speeding this up? Or does it just require a second time over each card, paying special attention to the bottom corner? Does anyone want to commiserate with me on this?
Hope that you don't open mystery booster
parentheses. Of course, insert pitch for CFBs, U-box we buy here. But for any other purpose of set sorting, this is so annoying, and I have to imagine it's a nightmare for when you do the kind of volume you guys are used to. Keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to the new year perks, though my wife says I can't keep any more beer glasses.
Well, thanks for the email.
So listen, we're not gonna do another Channel Fireball U-box you buy pitch right here. We're not going to do that because Channel Fireball is a site where you ball all your fire channels. I don't know. Look, just listen to your wife, right?
So my
great advice, Jason.
My advice for this, there's a couple ways you can go about this. The first is to just do a extreme quick pass through your batches round 1 and just go through them face forward and like pull out all the trash little list / mystery booster cards. The second option is once you've done that enough, you can almost do it by feel and by just like appearance of the card. Like almost all of them have different textures or different like visual cues. Like especially with the older sets, if you have a mystery booster card from like Onslaught, it looks way different than an actual Onslaught card, and you can just tell that going through. So even if you're set sorting upside down, you can say, "Oh, this Vampire Nighthawk is not the one from Zendikar; it's the one from Mystery Booster," and you can just pull it at that point without even looking. So you can make separate batches that way.
Yeah, but that requires a lot of familiarity. Like the three of us can just like, well, yep, that's weird. Oh, this is the like the Stoneforge Mystic that was in the Challenger deck, like that kind of crap. Like it looks off to you. But if you're not about that life, I don't think a second pass sucks that bad. Because if you're fanning through real quick, those mystery booster like little planeswalker symbol in the bottom left, they're very conspicuous and you can pull those out real fast. So whether you want to do that first or want to do that second once you've set sorted, either way, it's just another thing you got to do now. And like, no one loves that. But at the same time, there have been worse things. There have been harder to distinguish differences between cards historically. And like, I think
it's fine. Yeah. So my buddy and I were sorting our childhood Pokemon over the weekend. And so and this is not another Pokemon episode. Don't worry, people out there who didn't like it. But
they already turned off the episode.
I did find a Shadowless Blastoise. That was pretty cool. We had a lot of stuff because when we were in high school and all of our friends and friends of friends were getting out of Pokemon, we were like, we still like Pokemon cards. Everyone give them to us. So we just had like 20,000 cards total. We had like 1,500 rares. It was great, but when we were sorting it all, I told him about just flipping cards upside down because it turns out that works with Pokemon too, to see the rarity symbol in the corner. So we do that for like an hour when we're going through stuff, and he's like, I know you do this professionally and all, but that was a really good idea. I was like, yeah, man, it's the tech. So maybe there'll be some tech to mystery booster type cards in the future. But for now, Jason's right. A second pass, maybe not so bad. Besides, you also could miss, right? A second pass, if you do it fast enough, it can help you pick up on any errors, right? Or anything it can help you improve your process. Okay, well, let's move in to pick of the week. We've got Commander Legends dropping. We've got people looking at all the new commanders and commander pairs in earnest here. And we've got some picks. So, as a reminder, anything we talk about, you're interested in picking up, you can go to channelfireball.com, our generous sponsor, to do that. And whether you send in a box that they buy and you have store credit, or you just want to go pick up some cards, that's where we suggest doing it. So, on to pick of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
My pick of the week is also a mystery booster card. It is Revel in Riches. This is originally printed in Ixalan. It was starting to creep up to the $4 or $5 mark before it got kicked off its little upward climb of the Mount Everest of price graphs. And it's only a couple dollars now, and I think it will solidly recover back to $5. And it might even go.
It says you win the game. It pairs with Smothering Tide. It's so good. It's a pirate themed card.
There were a lot of pirates in Commander Legends. I completely forgot about that. But there are a lot of treasure making cards in that set. But honestly, this just goes in decks. It does. Yep. It just goes in decks.
Go to edhrec.com, type in Revel in Riches, and be like, oh, all these commanders are good. Yeah, great pick. Great pick. I have a mystery booster card too, actually. I didn't even realize it until I brought up the card on the site. Intruder Alarm. Now, this is predicated on Araumi, the merfolk. An uncommon, stupid merfolk without partner is the number 2 non-Negan commander of the week on EDHREC. Araumi of the Dead Tide, for whatever reason, people are building the shit out of that card. And stuff that untaps your commander. Mage-Right Stone was my breaking bulk. That was predicated on Araumi. And Intruder Alarm, my pick of the week. Same deal. For whatever reason, a lot of people are building this dumb deck. And Intruder Alarm is a good card that is good now, was good in the past, and it turns out later they're going to print a commander that's going to be very good with Intruder Alarm also. Anything that taps to put a creature into play, it turns out goes infinite with Intruder Alarm. It's always going to be a good card, and that Intruder, the mystery booster stuff did not inject as many copies into the market as the price depression might indicate. So I kind of think we're at an artificial low on the price. So like a lot of that mystery booster stuff is poised to go right back up. I'm right with DJ on that. We didn't even talk about that beforehand. So we both kind of think there are some mystery booster cards that are a little too cheap.
I'm going to come in with an interesting card here, and I don't know if this is going to pan out or not, but I want to talk about Stonecoil Serpent. It's a rare from Throne of Eldraine. It's about $4. It seems silly to think about, and look, there's a lot of commander type cards, Commander Legends, stuff like that that's going to be cheap that I could pick to have a better percentage gain. But I want to talk about Stonecoil Serpent because this card has popped up in a bunch of different formats, including Pioneer and at times even Modern. It's very popular in historic. And if you're somebody who believes that historic might eventually somehow make its way to paper, which is something I've seen people say because it's just so much better as a format than Pioneer. At $4, Stone Cool Serpent seems like it has a lot of upside. There's also a non-zero possibility that paper standard comes back before this thing is completely dead that way, but I don't think so. I think, though, that Stone Cold Serpent at $4, barring a reprint, has the potential to be just kind of this weird card that pops up from a set that, people don't really want, that might be expensive a year or two from now. So it's kind of just there's a bit of a pet pick because I do like this card, and it's just got a lot of crazy abilities, right? Reach, trample, protection from multicolored, and then it's an XX. It just goes in a lot of things. It can go in cubes. It's a colorless payoff. It just kind of is a magic card I see pop up a lot.
It is a 2019 card, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's kind of in the vein of like Hangerback Walker or Walking Ballista, sort of, right? It's just sort of this generically powerful card that can make its way into a lot of different things.
But among the top 5 top commanders on EDH Rec, Riami, Zaxxara, Kolfanor, Hamza are all commanders that were printed in the last year. So, like, you can look at it as like, well, like, of course, because this card was printed in the last year, but,
there's a lot of
maybe no one's going back to adding this Atanda Roshin Meanderer or, Rishkar. I think this has played a non-zero amount in some of these newer decks, and, like, an X-Spell,
Yeah, it just kind of fits everywhere. It fits in competitive formats, It fits in standard, it fits in EDH, it fits in cubes. It's just a good card. So
it just has to hit in one of those spots. Anything that has cross-format applicability is a good pick because, like, you have 5-6 different chances for a format to.
And it raised from about $3, $2 to $3 to this $4 mark over the summer because of just some of that. So I think it's just a card that we might see creep up more when paper starts to come back a little. All right. Well, I think that's a podcast. Now, I will say we recorded a lot of after hours tonight. So for those of you listening, a reminder that we have end of the year Patreon perks. If you are subscribed at a certain level, come the turn of the clock over to 2021, you will get all the goodies we have for those different levels. We went into detail with it last week. But in the meantime, if you're interested in upping your level or becoming a patron for the first time, we have some goals that we base on the number of patrons, because that's what we care about. We want to grow our community. Patreon.com/BSB. Happy holidays, everybody, if you were celebrating them this weekend. And if not, and even if you did, we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone.